Thanks for joining us.
Talkline Network Radio, America's longest-running Jewish broadcast network, the voice of the Jewish community.
Welcome to the podcast. You are now tuned in to this episode of our podcast. Today, we are going to interview some of the greatest and most influential minds in our field. And now, please welcome your host.
You're listening to Talkline with Zev Brenner, America's premier Jewish broadcast on the air since 1981.
Welcome back to the program. I'm Zev Brenner. With us once again, it's an annual event. Elana Silber joins us, the Chief Executive Officer of Sharsheret. They're a wonderful organization that helps women with breast cancer, ovarian cancer. I shouldn't say just for women, it's for men too. And so, Elana, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for hosting me again, and really appreciate the opportunity to touch base with your listeners, share updated information, and let them know what Sharsheret's up to.
Well, let's first explain what Sharsheret does, because people don't realize there's certain cancers that afflict heavily Ashkenazi Jews, including breast cancer and ovarian cancer.
Right. Look, we all know somebody in our families, in our communities, at work, Jewish women who are diagnosed with breast cancer and ovarian cancer. It's rampant. It's everywhere. And so one of the reasons it's so prevalent in the Jewish community is because there's a genetic mutation called BRCA, breast cancer, BRCA gene mutation, that is running in Jewish families. So 1 in 40 Jews of Ashkenazi descent, that's both men and women, carries a BRCA mutation, as compared to 1 in 400 in the general population. So that's making Jewish families at 10 times greater risk for hereditary breast cancer and ovarian cancer. And for men who carry this mutation, it also increases their risk for prostate cancer and for pancreatic cancer and melanoma. So these are urgent concerns for the Jewish community.
No, they certainly are. And from what I understand, unfortunately, younger and younger women are getting breast cancer these days too.
Yeah, we're seeing an increase in the number of women reaching out to Sharsheret who are younger, who are diagnosed at earlier stages, but we're also seeing a lot of women diagnosed with earlier stage cancers when they can be cured. So a lot of women at Sharsheret are doing well, but yes, we're seeing the numbers go up.
And of course, you're helping them cope with all different aspects of cancer, from the beginning stages to the end stages as well. I just saw a survey the other day that said drinking even a glass of alcohol a day can contribute to breast cancer. Now, did you see that survey as well?
Yeah, and it is known. Look, alcohol is a very complicated thing. So much that we do in our Jewish religion relates to alcohol, and the general mantra is, everything in moderation. But alcohol has been, and not only in this survey, but historically, with an increased risk for breast cancer. So if you are at increased risk, and many women are, they're really recommending not to drink alcohol, to really, really limit it as much as possible.
So you recommend the women take tests to make...
We recommend women speak to their doctors. That's, we're not a medical association, and we partner with the medical community, and we definitely recommend these surveys that you see, these questions that you ask, you learn your family history. You can call Sharsheret. We can help you prepare on how to speak to your doctor about it. But yes, everything should be spoken to with a healthcare professional.
Now, since October 7th, while you were really an American organization, you've branched out to Israel to help Israeli women. How is that coming along?
So the truth is, we have been approached for many years about bringing services to Israel. Many families, and I'm sure many who are listening today, have family living here in the U.S. and family in Israel. And we know that cancers run through families. So someone sitting in New York could have a relative in Jerusalem or Tel Aviv and say, how come we don't have Sharsheret in Israel for them? They would so much benefit from Sharsheret's emotional support, genetic counseling, patient navigation, education. Why don't we have it there? So we were planning this for a few years, really thoughtful how we could bring Sharsheret to Israel, and we're ready to go launch on October 16th, 2023. And then October 7th happened and everything was put on hold. But then a couple of months later, around January, we got calls from people in Israel and said, you know what? Women are so overwhelmed right now with what's going on in Israel. The men are in the war. The women are going for appointments. Everything is hard to access. They're going into mastectomies, not knowing what to expect, what materials they need. If Sharsheret was here, you would be able to talk them through it. You would be able to provide a kit of what to use before and after surgery. Can you come to Israel now, even despite the war? And maybe because of the war, we need you more than ever. So we picked up the pieces and we focused, and we went to Israel in January and launched this office. And in just a few months, more than 50 women and men reached out for support and information. We hosted an educational program in Ra'anana with over 100 people, which also encouraged people to learn more and get information. And now we have programs scheduled for Efrat in September and Jerusalem in November.
No, terrific. By the way, you mentioned men. Now, while Sharsheret mainly services women, but you're also helping men, because men also are at risk, maybe not at the same great numbers as women, but they also have the same breast cancer and other cancers too that are linked.
Yeah. So men have a dual role when it comes to Sharsheret. Number one, for their own health, because if they carry these mutations, they can pass them on to their children, and they are at increased cancer risk, like you mentioned, for breast cancer, melanoma, pancreatic, prostate cancers. But also their caregivers. Very often, a woman who's going through breast cancer is in a relationship with a man. It could be her spouse, it could be her boyfriend, fiance, a father, a brother, an adult child who's male. And men should feel comfortable reaching out to Sharsheret for themselves, for their own cancer risk, and how they could care for the women in their life going through a breast cancer or an ovarian cancer diagnosis.
Now, there has been some strides that have been made that can help cure breast cancer. Tell us about some of the strides and what you've been helping people with.
So first of all, the medical research when it comes to breast cancer is very advanced, and there are new medications coming out at different times, and Sharsheret is up to date on a lot of those new treatments, and we work closely with our medical board to share that information. From a genetic perspective, there are ways that we are working with women and men and couples as they are considering family planning. We know that families have had genetic mutations like BRCA, BRCA for generations, and it's increasing their risk for cancer. Due to medical advancements, there's a cutting-edge procedure now called PGD, which is pre-implantation genetic diagnosis. So for example, if you are a man or a woman who carries the mutation, you run the risk of your children carrying that mutation. So through in vitro fertilization and then through PGD, we can screen embryos for the genetic mutation. And if embryos are produced that do not carry the mutation, they can then be implanted, and those children will be born without the genetic mutation, really cutting off the genetic mutation from that family and putting those new offspring at the same risk as anyone else. We could literally see a change in the trajectory of cancer if it's successful, and it's not always successful, but if it's successful in many, many families, maybe we could see a change in the Jewish community and have lower risk and really change the health in the future generations.
Can that work for other cancers as well?
Yeah, so I think PGD does work for other genetic mutations, and they're doing that too. We are experts when it comes to breast cancer and ovarian cancer, and that's our focus. So if there is someone out there who is thinking, I have this mutation, I'm thinking about a family, what are my options? What should I do? They can reach out to Sharsheret, and we have a whole educational campaign now that was funded by a woman named Sherry Health and Wiener, who felt that this was something that the Jewish community really needed to be educated about, and we're bringing that information to the forefront.
How does it work from a halacha, from a Jewish legal point of view?
So from a Jewish perspective, we know that everyone has their own personal spiritual advisors, and we encourage you to speak with them. But we know that this is a procedure that has been widely accepted in the Orthodox Jewish community. And there are actually medical professionals who are also rabbis who are advising on the procedure. So I definitely encourage, we also have worked closely with medical professionals who have a Jewish law background, a halachic background, that can share more information and shed light for individuals.
Now, the work that you're doing costs money. You're helping people. Do you give also assistance to women who need assistance, who can't afford to do some of the treatments?
Yeah, so Sharsheret provides about $1 million a year of financial assistance for non-medical services, things that improve quality of life. So if a woman is in dire straits because all of her money is going towards spending for her treatments, she may decide, oh, well, there's this option to get a human hair wig, but it's too expensive and I have to not wear a wig. Sharsheret will cover it. There are procedures that you can do called scalp cooling so that you can preserve your hair during chemotherapy. Insurances are not covering that or not covering it fully. Sharsheret can help pay for that. And there are sometimes just financial relief. Sharsheret is providing that for families that are struggling.
So this costs money. Who funds Sharsheret? Where do you get your ability to take care of these things? How big is your budget each year?
So our budget right now is $9 million a year.
Wow.
And yeah, so we're basically raising it a lot from the community because we know that everyone who donates to Sharsheret is a potential caller. So it's, in a way, it's kind of, if you make a donation to Sharsheret, you may not need Sharsheret today, but now you are connected and maybe one day in the future. So we rely heavily on individual donations. We have some support from family foundations, but not a lot of institutional funding from the Jewish community, which we would like to increase. And we also have one small government grant. And we also work with pharmaceutical companies that are bringing drugs to market that target breast cancer, ovarian cancer, and genetics. And we are providing consulting services, bringing the patient perspective as they develop these drugs. So it's a busy job to raise the funds, and we are definitely seeking new support and expanded support as our budget has doubled in the last couple of years.
Wow. And especially now with Israel part of the picture as well. You do fundraising throughout the year, including events during the summertime.
Yeah. So actually the truth is two of our biggest fundraisers happen in August.
And people want to get more information about that and learn
those
more about
those are in the tri-state area. We have fundraisers all across the country. So for example, this summer in August, we have one event. August 6th will be in New Jersey, in northern New Jersey, and August 8th will be on Long Island. Those are happening in the evenings. They are summer barbecues, and you can sign up on our website, sharsheret.org, and look for upcoming events. And those two events are our newest ones. But we are also having a big race, which is a fundraiser in Los Angeles on September 15th. And then our next fundraiser after that, if you're going to be in Dallas, we have, I think it's November 3rd in Dallas, and then November 21st in New York City, and then December 15th in Florida. The truth is, Sharsheret is wherever you are. So wherever you're in the country, we encourage you to come to these events, learn more about what we do. And when you know someone or you yourself needs Sharsheret, you'll know where to find us.
You do amazing work, and I've been at your events. Really, it's a wonderful, wonderful event. So, Elana Silber, thank you for joining us. And she's the CEO of Sharsheret. Look forward to having you back on a future program.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for tuning in to
Talkline with Zev Brenner, America's premier Jewish broadcast, the pulse beat of the Jewish community.
For continuous Jewish programs, TalklineNetwork.com, or our 24-hour-a-day listen line at 641-741-0389. For past shows, you can find us on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon, YouTube, Instagram, and all major podcast platforms, or jewishpodcast.org. Thanks for listening to the TalklineNetwork.com.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Great job. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much.